Today I'm going to show you how to sew up some blocks that are actually going to be the border around an upcoming block. This block is part of my Patchworkers Plus membership. If you'd like to learn more about that, click the link below. You are going to notice this block features a hourglass block, which is not as hard as you think, and I'll walk you through the steps of getting your points right and making sure that all of your fabric choices are in the right place. You're not going to be finishing this block because it is a border, so we are going to leave them in a couple of different sections. And by the way, my name is Becky from Patchwork Posse. All right, let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is cut your pieces and pair them up to the correct partners. And so check the pattern and make sure that you have cut the correct pieces as well as paired them up correctly to each other. The next thing we're going to do is after you have them paired up, you will need to draw from corner to corner right down on that diagonal. Now, this is not going to be our sewing line. We are going to sew on both sides of our drawn line a 1/4 inch or a scant 1/4 inch, and then squaring them up afterwards. So if you want, you can use your hair marker or a pencil, but whatever you are going to use, you'll just want to lay your ruler down, line it up with the corner to corner, and then go ahead and draw your line. Now we're going to take all of these over to the sewing machine, and you're going to stitch on both sides of the drawn line on all of your partner pieces. With these all sewn, what we are going to do now is cut them in half. You're just going to cut directly on that sewn line. Now these larger pieces are for the hourglass, so we still have one more step to do for that. And with these half square triangles, we are going to press them and then square them up. All right, so we're just going to go and take all of these and give them a good press. All right, with this pressed, you are going to just trim up all of these blocks. Now, I use the block lock ruler, which I absolutely love, super easy. And if you've got a rotating cutting mat, that works as well. So just use the pattern and square these up. Don't skip this part. Check your pieces. Make sure that they measure the correct size before moving on to the next step, or this will give you some problems. So just make sure you do that. All right, with our half square triangles trimmed up, we're going to set those aside and we are going to work on our hourglass blocks. So on the back side, or the wrong side of one of these half square triangles, and I've not squared these up yet, we're going to do that at the end. I drew a line from corner to corner, and the line is going to go right across that seam line. So this is the pair for this one. So I'm just going to work through my pile and pair them up and draw my line. Again, this line we're going to use as a guide. And when we place these right sides together, you are going to make sure that when you peel back this corner, that you're going to have a light and a dark opposite the dark and the light. So you need to make sure that your background pieces are opposite each other. If they're not, you need to readjust and make a change. Also, if you have pressed these to the dark, your seams right in the middle here should just push together and nest really nicely. So when you sew this, you are going to have a perfect point. So once you get this lined up, we are going to pin this so it doesn't move or shift. You want to put a couple pins in there, that is just fine. So you're going to work through your pile and you are going to draw your line on the wrong side. You're going to line these up. Make sure that when you pull back one of these corners, you've got each side has a fabric, or you've got two fabrics on each side, and you pull it back. You want to make sure that your pieces are correctly placed, and so we're just going to continue marking, lining them up and pinning. We're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and just like the half square triangles, that center line is your guide, and you're going to sew on both sides of the drawn line. You're going to cut right on that drawn line. All right, with this finished and sewn, you're going to cut on this drawn line. Now with this sewn, we are going to press these and square them up. All right, with that done and pressed, we are going to square this up. So just follow the same process as before and just square them up. You're going to make sure that your ruler, when you line them up, is at the correct measurement where this intersection is, and your point is correctly placed over here, as well as this other corner. So you're just going to have to watch those, and it will be the same size as your other blocks. With my measurements, I've got a little bit of waste here, so your measurements should be, the measurements on the pattern should be a little closer than what this is showing. All right, the last thing you can do is go ahead and just press these really well and set them aside if you need to label them, but they actually are identical, so no matter how you place them, they are going to be the same, so it's okay to stack them all together. But now we get to sew the center blocks, and at the end, put our blocks with our two borders, the top and bottom on, and then add our side borders to finish the block.